there. My name is Emily, and as you can see, I'm joined here by Cosmo Kramer and actually the X-Files team, none of which were social workers. Maybe they needed social workers. I don't know. That's beside the point. Anyway, my social work hero, who I've chosen for this assignment, is John Collier. And John Collier was born in Atlanta, Georgia, in 1884. He was educated at both Columbia University and the College of France in Paris, France. Collier was known as a lifelong advocate for Native American rights. Although he held many titles, he was a social worker that really focused on, social reform. He lobbied for rights and policies in regards to Native Americans. He was a public official, he was a writer, he was a professor, so pretty multifaceted guy in general. Collier really urged people to preserve their sense of community, and he wanted people to know the importance of protecting and defending the traditions of ethnic cultures, especially in the face of American industrialism, materialism, and just the general power of institutions, the power that they have over people and over our culture. So he was really, he was really into social reform in general. So as I said, he was a major advocate for Native American rights. He was introduced to the Native American culture in general, and was kind of inspired by an artistic community in Taos, New Mexico. And that was where he really started, he just denounced the assimilation and disregard of Native American culture in general, that American culture had, or was doing. In 1922, he was actually appointed as a lead role by the General Federation of Women's Clubs for the Indian Welfare Committee. And in 1923, he formed the American Indian Defense Association. One of his claims to fame, I suppose, is that he was actually appointed by Franklin D. Roosevelt, president at the time, as Commissioner of Indian Affairs, and that was 1933 to 1945. He spearheaded many policies as commissioner, but he was most well known for what was known as the Indian New Deal. And this kind of group of policies and ideas really worked to prioritize Native American land, education, and labor rights in general, and just general human rights. One of the policies that was formed under this so-called Indian New Deal was known as the Indian Reorganization Act, and it was kind of a response to the fact that people wanted to just allocate these tiny parcels of land bit by bit, and so what this did was really rejecting the Americanization of these cultures and preserving their land rights, making sure that their traditions and their cultures could remain intact. But John Collier in general has a legacy, I think. He was quoted to say, "Indian affairs can be viewed as of significance in themselves. They can also be seen as an ethnic laboratory of universal meaning." And as I kind of interpret that, it's just saying that these affairs and how we're treating these people, these Native people in general, is really it's really representative and reflective of who we are as a culture, in the way that we deal in the Indian affairs, as he was calling them. And that was out of his book, one of his main works called Indians of the Americans, which was written in published in 1947. Collier eventually traveled back to Taos, Mexico, where he kind of, as I said before, found his inspiration in his journey for advocacy and social work. This was where he eventually died in 1968. In his later days, he was a professor of sociology. He was a huge advocate for education in general, and he wrote several books, including the one I mentioned before, as well as articles and many essays over his lifetime. I kind of see John Collier as a man who was on the right side of history. He used his privilege and his education and his knowledge and his passion to give a voice to people whose voices were suppressed, and people who may not have had a voice in the face of American, big American culture and industrialization and Americanization and all of this, just our history in general. And as an application to current events, I think John Collier, as he warned, we're still seeing this struggle to preserve and protect the cultures and rights of Native people from the institutions of the white man. And this is evident in the Dakota Access Pipeline controversy that has been going on for a while now. And it's just, you can look at it as a disregard of these people's human rights. And I think Collier would be disappointed in our current administration and just the racism and disregard that people are showing right now in these current times. So that's John Collier. Cool guy. I think he did a lot for Native American rights and just policies in general. So if you want to learn more, I'm sure there is plenty to read on him. But that's that for my social work hero, John Collier, and I hope you enjoyed. So thanks for listening. Thanks.